Hello, everybody! Welcome back with the crew to the Blazer Randomizer Blind Chaos with Spazer, Gazer, Mazer, and Taser. So, you already know the usual suspects and myself. We go on go. 3, 2, 1, go! Last time on Blazer Randomizer, we were all discussing while they grind the worst seeds ever. So...
Yeah, I actually didn't get to finish explaining. But by far the worst seeds I played are Plandos from a person that I affectionately like to call the Randomizer from Hell, falling to the past. And anytime I call him that, he takes it as a badge of honor and always goes... It's like, yeah, I can do worse. And I probably will. Thank God he does have his rule of any Plando he makes, he has to beat before it gets unleashed on the world. Or God knows how bad his seeds can be. So let me give you his latest seed.
Uh-oh.
For A Link to the Past. Hard mode. Swordless. Inverted. So your first boss had to be blind with blue cane, and the only way you can damage him and it is very much Kaizo-ish. Link to the Past, Rando.
We know about those. We're not even going to discuss any further on that. Yeah, that's not a thing. Gazer got a spirit sword, so he's now making use of it.
Ooh, good.
Something happened while you guys were talking. Mazer found the soul blade, and he went into the water shrine. This is something known in the community. There are some spikes that are coming out of the floor, and it's easy to grind to level 24 to use it. So Mazer is actually using soul blade right now until the end of the game. He has, as you can see, he's at level 24 because he did that trick right now.
So basically put, he got to some spikes, found a good grind spot, and now he's at wielding the best weapon in the game.
Yes, and all the spikes gives you 5,000 points per spike, and there's 4 of them, and then you walk out of the stairs, you come back down, they respawn immediately.
So pretty much, he's now just basically getting the MacGuffins and... Wait, does he have the soul armor?
I do not know, but right now this game is a walk in the park.
Yeah. This would be like in a Link to the Past game, Butter Sword really early on.
Pineapple Sword is what I refer to it as, but yes. That is... Yeah, at that point, yeah, you're just shedding the seed. Now you're just being too good at it. Spazer, who's had a very good opening, seems to be having some struggles now.
Like I said, it's still way too early.
But when you're level 24, wielding the best weapon in the game, unless you get absolutely pile drived into the face, there's no way in God's green earth that you're losing this.
We don't know what type of logic Mazer's speed is going to throw at him. It could be hot garbage.
Hot garbage? Oh,
we don't.
I thought I was the only one who talked about hot garbage.
He also has the magic in the game, so seriously, his game is gonna be easy from now on.
Yeah, that is a thing. So right now, while we're waiting to see where everyone else gets their Soul Blazer, I have a seed that I hate so much, and it was a Dragon Warrior Randomizer seed that I actually had to commentate for 3 hours. Hurt more and heal more, both at 16, and Red Dragons, Blue Dragons, and AK-47s, also referred to as the Armored Knights, had the blessing of the best dressed man in all the land, also referred to as the Dragon Lord. And they were just outside your doorstep, so yeah. Fun times. Also didn't help.
You.
It also didn't help that they couldn't find Erdrick's armor until in Sharlock. Yes, thanks to a new flag set, we were now able to put the randomizer now allows you to have your armor in Sharlock Castle. And for those who don't know what Sharlock Castle is, it is the last dungeon in the game.
That's what I thought it was.
Mhm.
Wait, isn't that the final dungeon in the game? I didn't know you could put key things in the final dungeon
You can
of the game.
you cannot put anything that requires the rainbow drop in Sharlock. But you can put everything else in there though, to include armor and sword.
May God have mercy on the runner's soul, because apparently the Randall dev did not.
Oh, it was a week 5 match, by the way. It was.
At least it wasn't a week 1 match.
Nah, week 1 we like to keep it simple, but that was a week 5. But staying on the Soul Blazer side of the house, Taser does have magic armor, so it has the soul armor, so we do know that Taser does have that. Gazer's...
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, what I noticed was Spacer, he was just at a part of the mountain where you can get 4 chests in a row, which usually has something you would want. And indeed it had. He found a spirit sword, so he could also, if he chooses to, return back to Act 2, kill these spirit enemies over there, or just continue on his merry way, and maybe he can use it in Act 6 when he gets to Madrid Castle.
Makes sense.
And I don't know if he got the mushroom shoes, but he's at a point where he's gonna have to come back if he doesn't have the mushroom shoes.
Yeah, which I was going to mention. Mazer does have the mushroom shoes currently.
I forget, what do the mushroom shoes do again?
They make you walk on that ice you see there on Spacer's screen. So you see right now he's just sliding because it doesn't have the shoes, so he cannot go everywhere you wanted.
So it's similar to the ice puzzles in Pokemon. That's why you need the mushroom shoes.
Yeah, it's right now Spacer can access this area right here, but if he wants to continue on this path, he will need to equip the mushroom shoes so you can just walk instead of slide, and then you can actually go to a place you cannot get to by sliding.
Ooh, Spacer gets denied a squirrel. You hate to see it.
I'm gonna... part of me thinks Spacer's logic is going to be... Yeah, you have to go back to area 2 where you can use the spirit sword.
Ooh.
We get the light arrow.
Nice.
He does go back, so it seems like he doesn't have the mushroom shoes right now.
Alright, so he does not have the mushroom shoes.
Unless it's someone that can give them in the mountain. It looks like he has to go back to Area 2. I don't think he's unlocked Area 3 yet. Or Area 4. Or, wait, this would be Area 5. Would be next. This is the Mountain of Souls.
Yeah.
We just saw a red hot ball pickup on Mazer's side, which is one of the 3 red hot items he will need. And on Gazer's side, I saw he unlocked another grandma, which is actually pretty important later down the line. If you have all 3 red hot items, you need to go to the king in Act 4, the Mountain of Souls. You do need those grandmas; they're very important.
All right, so 3 grandmas, 3 red hot items. Bingo.
2 grandmas.
2 grandmas.
And 1 king.
2 grandmas and a king. And looks like Gazer gets a mole. So, with all the action going on right here, okay, so Taser gets a grandma and Mesa gets a boy. It gets a strange bottle while he's on the subject.
Fortunately, Taser didn't get the grandma he actually needs.
Oh.
They're very specific grandmas who are very close to the king. And that's the one, both of the ones you want to get.
And I'm telling you, they can dance.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, grannies that can dance? Sign me up.
We'll get to that. we'll get to that.
Hey, there's Grandpa!
So you're actually seeing Gazer use the bubble armor right now that we talked about in the last episode.
So that's what that bubble is. So Spacer does have an armor, but it's not. It's a gold-looking armor. What the heck is that?
I believe that's the light armor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which just, if it's a light attack, it won't do damage.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and Gazer just got the king of the Mountain of Souls.
And herbs coming in from Mazer. Mazer looks like he's going to his boss number 1.
Yes.
I'm getting there.
Again, don't blink because you're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the sword he has, it's going to be very quick.
Ooh, mermaid's tears.
So you saw Mazer having a little bit of an issue actually stepping on the lair. It's something I also came across. So I've been using basically a strafe method. You usually see that. If you strafe, obviously, will only look one way, and to me it's a bit easier to position myself so I can actually step on the lair without needing like 20 tries.
I see. And Mazer once again, he opens the great door.
That means more of Area 5 is unlocked.
And speaking of Area 5, Spacer is in Area 5 right now. So he accessed Leo's lab. And this is where you will see a lot of the metal enemies that you would need the Zantetsu sword for, which he already has.
He just walked past the one puzzle that when I attempted to complete, I ended up not figuring out, so I skipped it. Because apparently it was nothing important.
Do you mean the cat puzzle?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the vanilla game, you will unlock 2 cats over in that area where Spacer just was. And if you have, I think it's called something like the aromatic leaf, the cats will sort of fall in love with the smell and they will follow you. And if you also unlock a couple of mice, they will be very happy because the cats are gone. So then they invite you to their home and then you can do a couple of extra checks. So in Randomizer, it's useful if those extra checks end up having like a stone or something like that, but who knows? We don't know what's behind those checks yet, and I don't think they unlock every NPC to check everything yet.
Yeah, I know that an A-leaf managed to show up somewhere, though. Is that the aromatic leaf?
Yeah.
I believe Spacer might have had the aromatic leaf.
Yeah, actually, I'm not entirely sure about the name, but it's what I've been calling it.
I affectionately call it catnip because that's what it seems like.
It basically is.
Can't complain. So right now, Gazer looks like he's up in 3 under the water, and Mazer, well, we didn't even look in that general direction, and the boss is gone.
Yeah, I find that funny. I don't know why.
Strange. Oh, and there's a mouse.
So on Spacer's
There's a
side,
mouse in the house.
yep. On Spacer's side, you see enemies you do not really want to encounter in this area. They're basically running all over the place and only stopping if there's an intersection, and then they take a turn or not, and then they just go past. So they can really get out of hand if you lose track of them. So resetting, like keeping one extra monster lair that unlocks an NPC, or reset every monster lairs. So in this case, Spacer used a monster lair over to the left to reset the state, and now he can just kill those runners one by one. That's a really good strat.
What's up with Casey? He's been saying that for at least 30 seconds.
Oh, maybe be looking at a map. Oh, looks like Spacer finally gets that out the way, and okay. Looks like
Yeah, there are a lot of monster layers in Spacer's area.
Yeah.
And
the same with Gator.
Well, from what I'm looking at right now from Spacer seems to be strafing to the side and then swinging his sword off the side. Is that a little bit of tech that we don't that the community know about?
Oh,
Yeah,
by the way,
hitbox.
you will have noticed just a couple seconds ago you actually got to see the power of the light arrows that we've been praising this whole time.
Oh,
on Spacer's screen.
Yeah, we saw it.
I just wanted to point out that that was indeed the light arrows.
Makes sense.
So there's also another tech you can use with using magic. You see, obviously, the blue orb they're using for the magic. If you walk into a wall, basically, you can move your little blue orb over to that side. It just moves farther to the left if you run into the left wall, for instance. And you can use that to try and hit enemies you wouldn't otherwise be able to hit, because your magic basically extends, like your range. So that's very useful to know.
Makes sense. And Spacer unlocks yet another mermaid. He also unlocked a squirrel. And what's the next one on the list? A dolphin! Blue, to be exact. Louie.
Louis Lua.
So we haven't seen it yet, but magic will be very useful in a part of Act 4, Mountain of Soul, which is called Lano. There's some magician that they start to spin and then they disappear and then they go further away. So you really want to kill them before they start moving with your magic, because that's such a time loss when they spread all over the place.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
The stereotypical Wizrobe enemies of the game.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
I know all about the Wizrobes.
Yeah, they trigger on proximity. So if you get close, they instantly spin and get out, and they are invincible. You cannot hurt them while they are spinning. That's why I want to take them out with a long-range magic, such as Light Arrow, before they even get the chance to see you and go in spinning mode.
Spinning mode.
So right now Blazer is going into a place where there are no items. So usually we keep this place for near the end of the seed where you're looking for an NPC, because if you're still early on in the game and you're looking for your stones, for your red hot items or anything else, there's no item in there.
I think Base is just clearing right now.
Or like right now he just released a plant that has an item, so it might be lucky and release an NPC that will give him an item.
True. Very much true. So
And so he just equipped the light armor, so right now he's not taking any damage from any enemies.
Yeah, they're way low level compared to his level 24.
Yeah, so right now you can just sit here and just eat it.
It lacks
I think
also a
which
thing.
zone he would still take damage from. At level 24.
I believe, at least in Magritte Castle, you still take some damage, and if you have, for instance, you see those lava floors over at Spacer's side, or like fire floors, you can still get hurt by that. Ice armor is the only thing that helps prevent damage from those damaged floors.
Look like Spacer is doing the side swing. So right now, coming from the analyst's point of view, who do you think is currently in the lead?
It's hard to tell because we can't see the tracker and who has more stones or who has more items. being in a further act than someone else doesn't mean anything.
So stones are missing.
Yeah,
You can walk back and retract any time in this game to go something that you've just unlocked in earlier game.
Yeah. Really, until you can see someone in the World of Evil, the last area, it's too close to call. It's still anyone's game.
Yeah, from what I've seen, Spacer has unlocked a lot of important NPCs, like NPCs you need for progression. So he has the Doll Marie. I think he has both steps to actually access Marie. I don't know if he has a door required to get to her. He also unlocked King Magritte. I think he unlocked Bob the Builder, which is an NPC you need to make the castle Magritte actually appear. So in theory, if he would have found all 6 stones right away, and he can access Marie in this case, he could go to World of Evil. So he has a lot of good NPC checks, but I don't think he has a lot of good item checks. Like we said, the 6 stones, you have the Soul Blade, Soul Armor, Phoenix Magic, and the Red Hot items.
So right now, he got a lot of his homework done, but he ain't equipped to be fighting anybody right now.
Yeah, I think it's just very, very close. I feel like Taser may be a little bit behind for a bit of unlucky at the start, but I think Taser's been covering a lot of good ground now, so really interesting to see how this Chaos Seed will go.
Makes sense. Mazer, on the other hand, though, seems to have a lot of decent items, but kind of missing his homework right now. Like, he's missing his homework currently. Unless he's clearing out everything.
Mazer's being very thorough.
Yeah, because he does have Blade. He has one of the 2 soul items. Oh, he does not have the armor, so he's still looking for that.
And I don't think that any of them have the Phoenix also.
Yeah, Phoenix is missed. I don't think I've seen anybody with Phoenix yet.
No, me neither.
So that's still missing. Space trying to get a dog and he fails. Maze with a VIP card.
Yeah, there are 2 towers in Magritte Castle area, which is Act 6. You need a VIP card and or a Platinum card to access those towers.
So which one's better, VIP or Platinum?
I forgot which one you need for the right tower, but Queen knows.
VIP has way more items as
Yeah.
to the one on the left.
Yeah, the Platinum.
The Platinum has no item at all.
Oh,
So we got the better of the 2 cards.
So
I have it here.
So why is Platinum needed?
It could be needed. If you're looking for NPCs, Left Tower does have a few. And the Horror Seed I mentioned before, I unlocked an NPC which led me to different NPCs and then an item. So you could still be looking for an item, so you skip the one areas where you only unlock NPCs, and then it turned out one of the NPCs you could unlock has the item you need. Not all NPCs have items, so it all depends on a bit of luck and a bit of routing maybe, but yeah, it's not fun. You have a lot of enemies, you have a lot of lag in the left tower as well, so it just costs a lot of time.
I see.
Yeah, so both towers have 7 NPC, but right tower has 5 items, and there's none in the left tower.
Alright, so both towers are needed for NPC hunting. So 14 NPCs, 5 items spread upon the 2 towers. Makes sense.
Interesting things that we didn't say also, as we said earlier, I think it was Cock that said it. When you step on a lair, it either reveals a path or an NPC. Now, once you know more about the speedrun, there are certain layers that you will not step on them because all they do is open a passage. We'll probably see it on Gazer's screen right now. He's gonna avoid doing some layer because they don't do anything in your progression at all. So that's also a way to save some time when you're doing a race of this.
Makes sense.
Also, if you look at Spacer's screen, he's killing enemies you're not seeing right now. So he's just trying to get hit, so he knows where the fire's coming from, and then he will use his light arrow to get rid of that enemy.
So these are the invisible enemies?
Yeah, you can see right now he's getting bombarded, and he's killing something you cannot see.
So you see there, Gazer he killed the enemies though, but he didn't go and step on the layer because that was only a little path to go back to the beginning.
Makes sense. And Spacer releases.
Utterly pointless.
And Spacer gets a dog.
Ooh, Mazer got another of our MacGuffins. He got the brown stone.
So we got the brown stone. That's interesting.
Blazer working his way up the mountain right now. He will also come across those 4 chests with hopefully something interesting for Taser as well. And I don't know if he has mushroom shoes. I hope he does, so we can see an area we haven't seen yet of any runner, I think.
So a little history of this game. Not a story, but there are 385 layers in this game, and only 166 gives you an item or an NPC, I should say, in this randomizer.
Which now begs the question: which are the ones that are the layers randomized so that certain ones have NPCs and others don't, or are they all pretty static?
No, they are static.
Okay. So once you know which ones have NPCs, you pretty much don't have to worry. All you have to do is just know what NPCs will unlock what.
Well, some of them, when I said 166 of them gives you an NPC, doesn't mean that you don't do the rest of them for the 385, because some of them, like right now, Gazer just stepped on one that opened a portal. So that doesn't count as an NPC, but it's still a useful layer. But now that I'm talking about that, I should know. I should try to count one time how many layers there are that we don't actually step in this game.
Makes sense.
So Gazer is doing the follow me cats puzzle. Use the A-leaf, the catnip, and now he's going up to the mouse to see if the mouse has anything for him.
Aha. Leo's brush.
Yeah, you saw someone getting sucked into a painting. You need Leo's brush for that, getting sucked into that painting. So if you want to finish Act 1, you need the brush.
And the other thing is a medical herb, which he already has. So I don't think it'll give you one.
So how many checks are going to leave you with medical herbs at the end of it all?
There are a lot of checks with medical herbs.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know how many medical herbs there are, but that's why we call the tournament herb percent, because all you get is herb.
Greenstone on
Like,
Gazer.
I think that would be like 25 herb or something like this.
I think so, yeah.
But you never have one when you needed it.
Also very true.
Sinister.
So Spacer is inside one of the model towns, and model towns also have a lot of item checks. Oh, he gets some mushrooms.
Ooh, mushrooms too.
He may have to go back at one point. I wouldn't think he would do that right away, but who knows?
Mellowtown has invisible enemy, as you see right now. He's just fought one. In order to be able to see them, you need a specific door that joins you and gives you the ability to see the invisible enemies.
Makes sense.
I've actually had a lot of trouble with at least one of the model towns, because sometimes with Randomizer, you do get the same enemy type as is appropriate in that area compared to the vanilla game. But sometimes, like, a lot of extra enemies spawn, and I had a few occasions where I tried to use light magic, but there were too many sprites on the screen, so I could not actually use magic, and it was really difficult.
Yeah, if I remember correct, the amount of sprites that there can be in the screen is 16, if my memory is correct. So at that point, your ball around you, your blue orb, will not spawn magic because the game cannot handle any more sprites on the game.
Ooh!
Limitations thing.
That's the thing.
Back in the days.
Still a thing today.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, we had some sprite limitations. Oh wow, I really know how to do an old man.
So Mazer is fighting a certain type of ape. This is one of the few layers that is not actually randomized, if I recall correctly, because in vanilla game you need a certain item to kill them, called a thunder ring, for the first layer you meet, and the second one you need the Zantetsu sword for, or the actual soul blade, because they're basically metal apes. So they are hard to kill if you don't have the Zantetsu or the soul blade. You can actually not kill them at that point.
And it looks like Mazer's just gonna sit there and just get some magic.
Yeah, he's actually in another place where you can use your blue orb. There's a fish that joins you and protects you from the volcano. Throws like lava balls at you, and you can be hit by it. But if you have the angelfish that protects you, you will not get damaged from the falling lava.
Ooh, Mazer unlocks a model town. Oh, speaking of the Thunder Ring, I'm gonna have to walk into the danger zone. And a dog.
On Gazer's side, you just saw a cutscene, which can also happen if you unlock an NPC. You have several. In the vanilla game, it costs a lot of time. There's just a lot of text, and you have to spam through it. And you can actually just... I think Lahulk made sure of a lot of text being a little bit less demanding, so you can just skip through a bit faster.
So it looks like Taser's picked up a Psycho Sword and a Thunder Ring.
Yeah, unfortunately not a whole lot in those 4 chests. We do see Spazer in Act 6. I think it's the first one in Act 6. He also talked to King Magritte, so that means he has access to the World of Evil, but he cannot actually open up the World of Evil because he doesn't have the 6 stones yet.
And there goes Taser for Grandpa. It looks like Gazer is fighting invisible enemies?
Yep.
Yes.
Correct. Because as I said, he doesn't have the door that gives him the ability to see the invincible enemies.
Oh, tough break for Gazer. Gazer has to wait. He doesn't have the means to unlock a dolphin.
I think if I saw that right, Gazer only has one type of magic. I think it's called Tornado. It's not a really reliable type of magic because, as you can see, he just spawned a tornado, and that tornado just does whatever he wants to do. So you cannot really direct it to anything.
Well, that sucks. And
Also, Spader is fighting in Magritte basement. You see a lot of spirit enemies over here. This is actually the area where you would usually get your spirit sword, so you can hurt the enemies in this area. So you do need spirit sword or, of course, a soul blade.
makes sense. And thank you, Queen Anne, for dropping me a guide. Because now I am interested. This doesn't seem like a hard game.
I believe QueenAnneB dropped that in the last episode, actually.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention where it was. But yeah, I made this guide to help the new players. And I figured I would drop it if you need help.
Finally, a way to actually search up how to play this game for someone with somewhat of my mental instability at times. Thank you, Afghanistan. But anyways, though, level 20 for Spacer.
We have a beautiful community. If you want to join and try this randomizer, feel free to ask questions in the Discord.
Leave me the Discord link on my DMs a little later. I will sometime this weekend move on in.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for the community. Like I said, joined last year and felt really welcome, so it's a lot of fun.
We also have weekly races. We have weekly, and sometimes we do races with them. It's really fun.
Nice. Now, of course, I would eventually have to memorize the mapping system, but hey, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that.
So you see on Spazer's side, he has, I think, a little bit of vision blur on his orb right now. That means he did pick up the spirit needed to see invisible things, so invisible walls in this area, as well as invisible chests.
Which
a lot of random players know where they are, but it's nice to have if you're not very familiar with the locations.
Who picked it up?
Spacer.
A Spacer did. Also, Gazer is in one of the areas that Queenie just mentioned. A lot of magicians spinning around, being obnoxious.
Yeah.
Does he has magic?
Yeah.
Just a tornado.
Oh.
Tornade. He has tornade.
Oh, this is such a painful when you go there with no magic.
Yeah. I actually saw Taser going into that area as well. He got cornered by like 10 blue magicians, and I don't know if he has magic, but he just noped out of that area. He was like, nope, I'm not going to do that right now.
Who's Spacer?
Taser was.
Oh, Taser, I don't think... I think Taser has light arrows. I know Mazer and Taser has light arrows. Space, I think, has a flame pillar, and Gazer, well, tornade. We don't need to mention any further than that. And a dolphin release. Oh, that's the companion to Lue. Ooh, Maze with a chest. Emblem F, that's needed. So right now, while we are still on the MacGuffin hunt, there's a lot of things that has been very interesting so far. But from what I can tell on the non-analyst side, Mazer is probably just looking for his stones and he's done. Oh, actually no, he's still missing soul armor. I take that back. Unless we missed it.
And I don't know if he has also the 3 red items.
Oh yeah, he still needs red. He needs red hot and he needs
Phoenix as well.
Yeah, and
yes.
Spacer just figured out that Tetsu is with the village chief.
Yeah, it's that place in Magritte Castle. That specific jewel has an angel that gives you information on the location of the Zentetsu sword in your randomizer seed. Usually you don't need it because once you get to Act 6, chances are pretty high you have the Zentetsu sword. It did help me once in one of my seeds. I was in Act 6, didn't have that sword, so it was really useful to get that information.
I believe it's randomized as it can give you also the position of the lucky blade.
Okay.
It's one of these two. It's the same thing. There is a goat in Act 1. If you bring it the goat food, it will tell you where either the soul blade is, the soul armor, or the phoenix. So that's the only two NPC that gives you clue in this game.
Ooh, and right now, nobody has the trifecta. So, no last bosses, no realm of evil.
I did see Spacer pick up one of the red hot items in the grid basement, so he may have two already, but I'm not entirely sure.
I'm excited to see Gazer if he's going to go fight the boss of this area, but there's a little story behind it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are we going to get a little bit of lore if we do get to see it?
I hope we'll see it.
So Mazer is finding those 4 chests we talked about. They're usually always have something useful.
Spirit Sword was in one of them, I know that for a fact. Tornado!
And his phone.
Tornado, that's the best thing he could find.
Said the guy who doesn't know how to play the game, knowing good and damn well that is one of the worst spells ever produced in this ever. Ugh. And I don't even know the game. You mentioned tornadoes, whatever it's once. Oh no, this man right here will not be using tornado unless he needs to absolutely need it. I'd rather use flame pillow over tornado. And I just saw that firsthand. That shit looks like garbage.
Yeah, tornado is really good for that first burst of damage, but after that, you just have to pray or something.
It's basically RNGesus the spell. It looks like Gazer's got those magicians who want to spin around, being absolutely obnoxious.
Yeah. I feel sorry for Gazer having to deal with so many stupid magicians. And this is coming from the guy who has magic as his brand.
So I saw Taser just picking up the red hot steak and the phoenix. Wow.
Ooh.
So Taser just needs
both,
the rest of the orbs
and both soul item and both soul equipments.
He has soul armor.
Mm-mm.
I'm pretty sure when I saw his inventory.
Really? Did he have soul armor? Maybe I'm forgetting.
I am not entirely sure, but we will probably see that soon. I do think that Taser is a bit behind when it comes to NPC releases. Like, we saw Spazer unlocking everything he needs to actually get to the World of Evil. I think Spazer is the only one so far. Taser does find a green stone, so this area has been paying off a lot.
He's been paying off at least for his items, but his homework's not done yet, though. Oh, yeah, he does. Okay, my bad. He does have soul armor. So he needs Soul Blade for some odd reason.
It's not uncommon to actually find one of the items you still need in the World of Evil. Obviously, the 6 stones are items you need to access the World of Evil. But if I'm not mistaken, the red dot items, Soul Blade, Soul Armor, they could all be in one of the chests in the World of Evil, provided they're not blocked by one of them.
Correct.
Actually, I think the first area because I believe you need the Soul Armor.
Yep.
to get past the first area.
I think the area leading up to the palace, where the palace would be if you spawned it with the red dot items, that area, I've actually made my way over to that because that's I think one of the seeds I didn't know one of the checks. So I thought, oh, maybe I don't need soul armor to beat the game. But yeah, I was wrong. But you definitely want the soul armor for that.
Oh, and here's the bus I was talking about. It's a fun story. You know how Japanese and back then USA were always how do you say that in English? Not banning, but censoring. Thank you. So this bus used to be a woman with breasts, but in the American version, they took it off. It's now a man.
Yeah, they find that very offensive. So obviously, we could never deal with a woman Poseidon sprite on our screen. So yeah,
it was the same thing for Illusion of Gaia. The first when you start, it's in a church, but they found that offensive, so they changed it to a school. It's called a school in the American version.
What? That makes so much sense.
Because back in the SNES era, Nintendo was very anti-anything religious in video games.
That has not changed.
That's actually pretty interesting because I also I like to play casually Breath of Fire 2. That has a lot of like church stuff going on, and it's not really the nice kind of church stuff. So it kind of surprised me that they did that for a couple of games, and then I guess they didn't for other games.
Is it just me, or
I think
hold on a second.
They only censor the good shit on the good parts of church because of religious history. Well,
we won't discuss that. Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out how not to change that subject. So thank you.
Yeah, we will not.
I understand what you mean.
But yeah, there was a lot of censorship back then.
Yeah, and it still goes on today too, despite that.
So you see in Spazer's side, he does have light arrow, but he has a lot of trouble getting the good angle on those magician enemies because he's also getting bombarded by ice spikes, and he's on a slippery slope. Like that ice part you see over his screen, it will make you just go down like a cycle road in Pokemon.
So even with the mushroom shoes, it doesn't help.
I believe mushroom shoes only help with actual flat ground.
That's true.
Maze is starting to pick up the pace. Picks up a dog.
It's interesting also to learn that Soul Blazer was released in 1992 in Japan and US, but 2 years later in Europe and France. That's a long time.
Well, you also gotta remember too that during that time frame, Europe was having a bit of an issue with getting video games, getting releases at pretty much most of the other world. Because remember, a lot of times, even to this day, Japan. Oh, a nothing burger on Mazer. What the hell? I didn't think that was a thing. But yeah, usually, if it's an American or Japanese game exclusive, they'll usually put out the release dates a few days prior. So, one of the things that was interesting was Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. US got it first, then it was staggered release dates. So it was like 3 days later, Europe got it, and in Japan, I think, got it another day afterwards. Monster Hunter was another one. We didn't get America and Europe didn't get Monster Hunter until about a few months later, and in Europe's case, yeesh. So, not surprising. Staggered release dates. But 2 years for Soul Blazer, that's a bit of a thing.
I think that's kind of ironic almost because we were talking about the illusion of time, which I call illusion of time because that's what it's called in Europe, and Terranigma, and Terranigma never got released in the US. So for Soul Blazer, the first out of those 3 games, you only get a release date 2 years after the fact happened in US, and then the 3rd game didn't even get released in the US. It's kind of strange to me, but maybe they didn't sell well. They didn't feel like it would be popular in the US, and that's why they decided only to release it in Europe after obviously releasing it in Japan. But that may be the case.
I'd like to point out Gazer is finally going to kill the first boss
About time.
of the game.
And he got a mold ribbon while on the way. But yeah, it's no secret that the Japanese sometimes consider Americans a little bit inept in difficulty because we didn't get we didn't even get the original Super Mario Bros. 2 until it got re-released as Lost Levels.
Yes, that is true.
So that's a bit of a problem. And they also toned down the game even further when they did release Lost Levels. So that was ugh.
Yeah, it's they obviously want to see if things will actually hit or sell well. The infamous how do you call it, box art on games. Like if I just mentioned Breath of Fire 2. If I look at the American version of the Breath of Fire 2 game, I'm not sure if it was released in Europe, but it's just like buff dudes, really cool people, and it's just a JRPG, really fun JRPG, and they're nothing like the buff, like Rambo-esque kind of guys, but they thought it would sell better if they did that in the Western world. That's kind of funny.
It sounds like for me. It sounds like they did the same damn thing for Kid Cool. They basically put a random white teenager with the badass 80s look with a black trench coat and a dragon hump in his fucking leg. Don't believe me? Watch the AVGN review on Kid Cool. Trust me when I tell you. I was like, this is nothing like Kid Cool. Oh, so false marketing? Great.
Yeah, it can happen. Also, maybe people heard about, I think it's called Operation Rainfall, where there were a couple of JRPGs. They were not willing to release in the West because they didn't think it would be very popular. One of those games ended up becoming one of, like, almost sort of a flagship for Nintendo, which is the Xenoblade Chronicles game. I mean, they have 2 people in Smash already, so that's it's kind of funny because they didn't even plan on releasing that in the West before fans saw the games in Japan. I think it was also with Pandora's Tower and The Last Story, I think. Yeah, they just didn't think it would sell, and now it's one of the better selling niche how do you call it, franchises on this case the Nintendo system.
Tell you.
We just saw Taser go into a dream of a person in Act 4, and that gives me an idea that Taser is not is on maybe his first few playthrough of this game, because the dream he just went into doesn't give you either an NPC or an item or anything.
Not even a hint, yes. But right now, we're about to approach the 30-second warning. So at this point right now, to prevent us from going overtime, outside of him dealing with magicians, you're going to see a staggered release on Part 3 and 4, but just to give you an idea of what's going to happen, we're going to have some more fun in the next part. So, for the commentator team, we will catch you back in the next episode. So, take care, be safe, and be careful during trouble times. Deuces, folks.